This podcast is sponsored by Aleppo Restaurant on Wonderland Road North and A. Miller George Funeral Home, where every life is celebrated, and their sister company, Cremation London and Middlesex, both family owned and operated.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever and whenever you may be listening, we welcome you to another edition of the Vicar's Crossing podcast, a virtual space where faith intersects with the public square. And we're back again. My name's Rob Henderson from Holy Trinity St. Stephen's Anglican Church, and I'm here with Kevin.
Kevin George from St. Aidan's Anglican Church, right here in the northwest end of town, right where we're recording from today.
And producer Ian back again. Hi, Ian.
I am back again. Hello.
Good to see you. Good to see you freshly beginning a new school year now.
Yes, I am.
Fanshawe College.
Oh, yeah.
How's the first couple of weeks?
It's great. It's everything I wanted it to be and more.
Good.
He's officially a post-secondary student now.
He's in.
Yeah.
He's in. Good. Well, it's good to be back with everybody, and good to have a chance to spend a little time together. We want to say hello to our sponsors, of course, Aleppo Restaurant, Wonderland Road North in London, and our good friends at A. Miller George Funeral Home, where every life is celebrated, and their sister company, Cremation London and Middlesex, both family-owned and operated. And today we have a very special guest in
She's awesome.
the podcast. Yep, this is Carol Besades. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Besades,
okay,
yeah.
Carol.
Besada, beseda.
Yeah.
Tomato, potato, potato.
Yeah.
Besada.
Okay, guys.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Kevin's going to give you a little bit more of a formal introduction in just a little bit, okay? So we'll chat a bit more about that. But first off, we got to kind of catch up a little bit and see what's been going on in our lives since we last got together, which was before we did, or you did.
We did.
We
Come
did.
on,
There was a lot of us, but you did all the heavy lifting here, the 55 hours for hope.
What an event. So when we last recorded, we had Rick Moss from Jesse's Journey with us, and we were talking about the possibilities for 55 hours and how to stay awake and all that sort of stuff. And last week, just a little over a week ago, we completed 55 hours for hope. We were fortunate to have strong sponsors like Hyde Park Care Pharmacy, from where we're recording today, or from whence we're recording, and Carol Besades, and who's the pharmacist. But it was an incredible event. Just so many people came out. It was incredible at the end. We ended up raising over $105,000 for Jesse's Journey and ANOVA, as well as Outreach Ministry at St. Aidan. So it was beyond what I expected, Rob. Right. And I would be remiss if I didn't say something about just how incredibly solid my good buddy and partner Rob was in all of it. He was the program director, and he kept everything moving those 3 days. It was incredible because I had 5 minutes every hour to try and see what was going on, and they made sure I saw as little as possible.
That's right. No, you didn't want to know what was going on. You just needed to focus on what you were saying. And
it was amazing.
That was great. No, and like you mentioned too, a great team that we had together, and we had a little bit of a wrap-up get-together with our team yesterday at the Church Key, and
another good sponsor. Thank you, Vanessa and Peter.
And kind of told some stories about. We filled in Kevin
War
what happened
stories
behind the scenes that he didn't know about.
And some of the things I said at the wee
some of the
hours of
things
mine I didn't know I said.
remember saying, so we had to bring that up. But no, overall a wonderful event, and
it was a great time. And many thanks to all the sponsors out there and to all the folks who came out. Powerful stories of people who are not parishioners, but who came to witness this thing. And we're not sure what this thing is yet or what God is doing with all of it, but we're going to allow the Holy Spirit to unfold the rest and see where it all takes us. But one thing I am sure of, and I said this in a social media post last night, is one of the great benefits for me was getting to know that team of people that we had, Rob, with under Matt Brown's leadership, but from ANOVA, Jesse's Journey, our parish, you, Matt Martin, it was just great to draw closer to a good group of people who care about the community. So
very much
pretty fortunate that way. You had a pretty exciting event yourself last week, yeah?
Yeah, well, on Friday night at the parish, we had two wonderful musicians in the London area. Mark Smith, pianist and singer, who's the organist and music director at Riverside United Church, came along and played with Denise Pelly. And Denise is a renowned vocalist and jazz vocalist.
She's incredible.
Wonderful musician in her own right. And the two of them did a concert for us at our church on Friday night. And it was wonderful. We filled it up, and we were able to raise some money for the Primates World Relief Development Fund, which we sent toward hurricane relief from Hurricane Dorian. So I think the final count was a little over $600 that we were able to give toward that. And then we had some outreach ministries at the parish that we wanted to support, including the Glencairn Food Bank and here in Church Camp bursaries that we do for kids. So some of the money went toward that too. So yeah, it was a fun night overall. And Denise and Mark were great. They were playing some soul music and jazz music.
Oh, they're incredible.
Yeah, it was really nice. Really nice.
And Ian, I did see Ian out at the 55 hours, sometimes at the wee hours. How did you find that, Ian? Was it?
It was amazing to just sort of witness. It was kind of surreal to be watching it because I know you enjoyed talking, but like I didn't think you enjoyed talking that much. But it was
exhausting.
Wow, shocking. But it was really cool to see that. Yeah.
Good. And Ian played a little live music afterwards, which was great. Unfortunately, we had a little rain and lightning, so we had to go inside. But it ended up, we were saying yesterday at our get-together, it was good that we ended up inside the church. And Ian did some great music of his own to kick it off, to end it up. And,
the name of that piece, again, is Wayfaring Stranger.
Yeah.
And I could just hear it off in the distance. I was in my office being interviewed by the media, and I thought, I'm hearing about 6 octaves of Ian. And I thought, he's done some sort of a recording, and he's since posted it on social media, and it's one of my favorite pieces. We're going to have you do it at the church.
Sure.
But I think for our purposes, you should weave it into the end of this podcast. You should put the music on the end and let folks get a taste of this beautiful piece of music you did. It's incredible.
I'll see what I can do. Yeah. Wow. All right.
Ian's a talented young musician.
He's incredible.
So
yeah. You ever need someone to come and play at an event?
Wow.
There's your guy. You have a big open house and you want a guy to sing in the go. There's your guy.
All right.
So and then off the heels of 55 hours at St. Aidan's, what's next? I mean, how do you top that?
I don't know.
What are your parishioners saying about what?
Everybody said, please,
well,
please don't come with any ideas. But no, next thing we got coming up now actually is October the 6th at 6 p.m. We're hosting an all candidates debate for London West. We've invited all the candidates for the upcoming election to join us. And that's going to be moderated by Mr. Ken Eastwood from CJBK Radio, who, God bless them, they broadcast live at the event 2 mornings. And we have confirmation from all the candidates at the moment, except for the Conservative Party of Canada. They have the date available, they tell me, but they're considering whether or not they want to be a part of it, based on format or something like that. So we'll see. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But NDP, Liberal, the Green Party of Canada and the People's Party of Canada are all confirmed coming, and it's going to be an opportunity for them to give an opening and closing statement, and then we're going to focus on affordable housing, jobs in the economy, the environment and energy, the opioid crisis that seems to be seizing the country. I think those are the key ones, but there are 5 or 6 categories anyway. It should be a good night.
Good.
Yeah.
And speaking of Ken, by the way, Ken Eastwood, who I know is an avid listener of our podcast from CJBK.
Great guy.
Want to say hi to him because he's at home recovering.
Yeah.
He had a little bit of a spill on his bike, I guess.
Oh, did he?
Yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, I
Did you
missed
hear
that. No.
Yeah, I was listening to the radio this morning and he wasn't in.
Oh,
and so he's
no.
just recovering at home. I heard he hurt his collarbone and that sort of thing. So I didn't hear the whole
sorry
extent
to
of
hear
it.
that.
But Ken's listening and we want to wish you well, buddy. And
Yeah,
get
get
you
better
back on
soon.
the air as soon as you can. And,
Yeah.
and we hope you're doing okay.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
He does a lot of biking, so
He does, yeah. Well, should we get into one of our segments here that we've been doing for a while, Carol? Because everybody wants to know more and more about Ian.
Yep.
All right.
Like we do all the yakking, but
Yeah.
Ian's the real star of the show.
He's the star of the show.
So we have a special
Okay.
segment, and here we go. It's time once again, ladies and gentlemen, for Ask Ian anything.
Wow, man, that's incredible, eh? So, Ian, we have a question today from a listener overseas.
Okay.
This question comes to us from the African continent, and someone in Uganda is wondering: have you ever considered moving overseas to do mission work?
No. Way to put me on the spot. I haven't. Just because I still have school I need to finish and things I need to finish here in London. So yeah.
But do you have a contact name for this person in case he changes his mind?
Follow-up question is, do you have a girlfriend? No, I'm kidding. No. Yeah.
Well,
Anyway, that's good fun.
For our listeners, if you have a question for Ian about really anything,
Yeah.
then send it to us.
Yeah,
Tweet it to us.
vickerscrossing@gmail.com, and we'll get it to Ian.
We'll get it to
That
you.
one was a little silly just because we haven't published them out. So
No, we haven't.
I had a little fun with you.
No. Final segment here before we get talking a little bit more to Carol is something we're actually wrapping up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So, Ian, why don't you take it away and tell us what we're doing?
So I would like to welcome everyone to the last round of the Canon Tavish Trivia Cup.
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Ooh, wow. Last segment.
Right. So usually we would go year by year through the Trivia Pursuit 40th anniversary card
The 40th
game.
anniversary.
40th
edition.
anniversary.
Some
I keep
of us
wanting
are
to
old
say
enough
50.
to remember when it came out, Ian.
Anyway,
Not Carol. And not Ian.
so how this works is our esteemed guest will choose a category for our two priests here, and then I will ask them a question, and then the points are given via who answers the question gets a point. Now, since it's the last round, we're going to do a winner takes all.
Oh.
So, if
I think that's been generous to me, actually.
yes, it is. So, if Rob answers the question and Kevin, if Rob answers the question correct and Kevin doesn't answer the question correct, Rob wins. But if Kevin answers the question correct and Rob doesn't answer the question correct, Kevin wins. However, if they both answer the question correct or wrong, I get to choose the final question, and the first one to think of the answer and think of the
wow.
correct
okay,
answer.
there you
This
go.
is pretty
Wins.
That would explain
just-
the buzzers that you
yeah.
hooked up here in the studio.
Right.
Absolutely,
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't know what
Buzzers,
these
okay.
were for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you
So
for pointing
just
that
to
out.
clear that up.
Yeah.
So would our esteemed guest choose a category for each of our gentlemen?
Let me see here. So start with Rob.
Yeah.
Oh, let's pick here history.
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 Okay.
He likes history, too.
He likes history.
Now you guys don't know what card year I've chosen, right?
No, wait. Hold on
no,
a
I
second.
don't know.
What category am I getting, Carol?
Oh, okay. And for you, science and nature.
Did you see him over there? He was going, pick
Sports.
No,
Nobody
no.
ever picks sports for us. Why is that?
I don't know.
So who should I ask first, Carol?
Let's start with Rob.
Okay. So history is the yellow category, and the question is, what Ghana-born diplomat who served as Secretary General of the UN from 1997 to 2006 won the Nobel Peace Prize this year?
What year was that?
Carol knows.
What year was that? What year was
You
Sorry,
can't
Kevin.
answer.
So the card, the years that this Ghana-born diplomat won served as Secretary General of the UN from 1997 to 2006. The card year, gentlemen, is 2001.
Yeah, I know the answer.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, I'm not sure.
Can we switch?
Okay. I'm going to take a guess, but you.
Okay.
You
No,
go first,
my
yeah.
question now.
So,
Yeah.
so Kevin.
Yeah.
Science and nature is green.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. What new device did Steve Jobs say? What new device did Steve Jobs say? Quote, lets you put your entire music collection in your pocket and listen to it wherever you go.
Oh,
Okay.
come
I think I know that
on.
one too. So do I
Seriously.
get to answer now, or do we let him answer first?
I don't know.
I can answer now. I'm going to say
Sure.
it's an iPod.
That would be correct.
Oh, jeez. So the pressure's on me. After all the work I did to build this huge lead,
Yeah, you did.
this comes down to a United Nations question.
Yes.
Correct.
It's just the first name that popped into my head, so I'll go with it. Is the answer Kofi Annan?
That is also correct.
it too.
Yes.
You knew, didn't you?
I didn't know.
I didn't know.
That one?
All right.
So we get to go to the buzzers.
We got to go to the
Kevin.
buzzers now.
Okay.
buzzer round. Now,
Do I have a buzzer?
yes.
Okay, where is it? Like I just got to go bzzz.
Sure.
Okay.
So, since you guys have been craving it so much, here is the sports question from 2001.
Okay, all right.
First one to buzz in wins. What NFL team, led by quarterback Trent Dilfer,
Finish the question. The Buffalo Bills.
And I was going to hit.
Buffalo Bills?
The Buffalo Bills.
Incorrect. Let me finish the question.
Okay, finish the question.
Won its first NFL championship by rooting the New
I should have let him finish
by
the
rooting the
question.
New York Giants 34-7. Rob gets
2001.
first question.
Tampa
Rob
Bay
gets,
Buccaneers.
Yes.
No.
No.
come
What are we
on.
down to the next question now?
Who
was it?
It was Baltimore Ravens.
Baltimore,
all right. Trent Dilfer.
Now we're going to go
Hall of
to,
Famer.
what is blue again? Geography?
Geography, yeah.
We're going to geography from 2001. What Japanese superstar made his USA debut this year, winning Rookie of the Year and MVP while racking up 242 hits and 56 stolen bases?
Oh, I know this. Suzuki.
Yes, I'll give it to
Oh,
With the Seattle Mariners.
you. Well, it didn't say what team. At 43 years old, he was still playing in 2017.
Yeah.
look at that. All
Look at
right,
that.
man. Well, good job.
That was good in the
You
end.
buzzed
anyway.
me out. You buzzed me out. Congratulations.
All right. Well, let's get on to things that matter more.
Kevy wins the cup.
Brilliant.
All right. Carol, welcome. Good to have you here.
Hello. Hi, Rob. Hi, Ian. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Carol. Now, see, let me do this bit of introduction, and
Yeah.
then you can give a real
Yeah.
introduction to yourself. So the bit of introduction I'll give is I know Carol because when this pharmacy opened just a month or so ago, I walked in here and looked for some help, and we'll say more on that later in terms of the 55 hours, and she stepped in right away. And I met the kindest, just with the most incredible and beautiful smile person who welcomed me in the door and was so kind. And within 2 weeks, I had my prescriptions moved over, and I was like, I found a pharmacy of a lifetime here. And the more I've gotten to know Carol and what a faithful person she is, the more intrigued I've been, and the more conversations we have, the more I thought it would be great to have you talk to our listeners about your own journey and your own faith and your own practice here in the pharmacy. So we're glad to have you. But maybe you can share a little bit more about your background, about where you come from, where you studied, when you came to Canada, so on.
Yeah, sure. First of all, I'd like to thank you for having me today here at Vickers Crossing. For introducing myself, I'm not as strong as you, so I'm just a pharmacist. I have been a pharmacist for 10 years, and I came to Canada 6 years ago, and I decided to continue on my career, which I'm so passionate about, which is pharmaceuticals. So I did the equivalence exams, stuff like that. I started to work as a relief pharmacist. So, I worked in big retail pharmacies, and I worked in also small independent pharmacies. But throughout of my years I spent here in Canada, so I have came across different people who have a very good and positive impact on my life. Every day you deal with the customers and patient eager to hear an advice from you, or just need a help to find an over-the-counter medication to ease their discomfort or their pain. And then they come back to you, or they know you by name, or they call you and thank you for your recommendation to them. All this meant a lot to me. Yeah.
No, that's great.
Yeah, it's very great. Yeah. Now I have a chance to open an independent pharmacy, or just a partner in an independent pharmacy. So I just felt that I have a role towards the Canadian community. I owe this community a lot, and this is where I want to raise my children in.
Mm-hmm.
So I
So
remember.
tell us about that. How many children do you have?
Just one.
One?
Yes.
Oh,
She's 3.5 years old. Yeah.
And her name is?
Eliana.
All right.
hello to Eliana. I hope you're listening.
Thank you. It's not an Egyptian name, by the way.
No, that's okay.
No.
No.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
So I remember when Kevin, he came through the pharmacy,
Yep.
and we were just open 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just kind of opened your doors, and Kevin showed up, and he
Yeah.
came to you, and I'm assuming told you a little bit about what he was going to do. What was your
Exactly.
first thought when this priest comes in and says, "I'm going to be out at my church talking for 55 hours straight with no sleep"?
To be honest, in the beginning, I thought that he's a customer, so I welcomed him. Okay?
Sure,
I didn't think that he asking money from me because I just opened. So come on,
You thought I was bringing money? Oh, you were sadly mistaken.
yeah, I thought he's just a customer. So.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I was so happy because, oh my God, a customer opened my door. But once he started talking, and he asked me money. Okay, come on, what you are asking the money for?
Yeah.
And and he started to introduce his mission. and he's doing the 55 hours for Hope. He gave me a bit of a brief on what he's doing. So I feel like that was really great. This is a very great initiative that someone taking the lead to collect this amount of money for a good purpose. It's not just for the purpose to help or to support St. Aidan Church, but it's also for the ANOVA, which is the Women's Community House and Sexual Assault Center in London. And, but there's no offense on women, and they should support my kind.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, so especially knowing that ANOVA community provide a safer shelter in terms of counseling, resource for the abused women, also provide the care for the children. That was definitely something that I want support for. And also the Jess's Journey charity. Yeah, I did a search on Jess's Journey because for me it was my first time to know about the Jess's Journey. Yeah. And I found them that they looking to do some research to defeat the Duchenne muscular disorder.
Right.
Yeah. So this is actually a rare genetic disorder. Not all of us know about that.
Right.
Yeah, but it's
very
very, very
It's very
rare.
rare, yeah.
And it's affecting children at very young age, between 5 to 8 years.
Right.
And so it's affecting the development of the muscles, so they cannot walk, they cannot perform their daily activities, and they, because the heart and the muscle, so they die early.
Yeah.
Right.
Before their 30s. So that was a kind of disease that there is no cure for it. So for Just a Journey charity to do some research to look for an advanced therapy for such rare genetic disease, this is awesome, actually.
Right.
And
No,
in my medical,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the work
Yeah.
you're in, really.
Yeah,
It's the work you're in, exactly.
Yeah,
And-
so I should
and,
support that. Yeah.
And we got to point out, you were generous enough to jump on board here and sponsor
Thank you.
$1,000 toward this great event. And what's interesting about what you said is that a big part of this too was creating awareness for Nova, for Jesse's Journey,
Exactly.
because even though we know about them because
Yeah.
we've been connected before, there are a lot of people out there that didn't.
Exactly.
And it sounds like what you're saying was once you kind of looked into those a little bit more, you could see some of the wonderful work that could be done by being a part of that. Yeah.
I was astounded actually through this particular process, how many people, because we forget about how many new Canadians there are too, right?
Right.
So for those of us who have any history in London, Jesse's Journey, because of John Davidson being here in London and walking across Canada like he did, if you have a history here, you know about it. But if you don't know about it, what is Jesse's Journey?
You don't,
right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
And
exactly.
ANOVA, well, the blending of those two organizations a couple of years ago, they went with the name ANOVA. I'm sure there was a good reason for that. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't mean it's like, what is ANOVA, right? Yeah. And so I think that the awareness bit has really been important, actually. And I was impressed with Carol that I don't even know if you had a customer yet when you gave us $1,000.
Barely one
Right.
customer.
So-
Yeah.
So before she's even got any
That's it,
clientele,
Well, that's
She
that's
helps
an
us
act of
$1,000
faith right there.
That's an act of
Yeah,
faith. That's
exactly.
big time.
That's
Yeah.
a spirit of generosity
Yep.
and grace and
Thank
kindness,
you.
which makes my heart glad, and that's why I've been singing your praises ever since.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I asked you to pray for the pharmacy
I
that day.
did.
You remember
She
that?
did
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
She did actually. Carol said, "Can I ask you?"
Yeah.
She gave me 1,000. She said, "I'll commit 1,000. I need to talk to Big Mike and Little Mike," and that's what I call them, Big Mike and Little Mike. She has business partners. They're both named Mike. One's older and one's younger, so I call them Big Mike and Little Mike. But I was getting ready to go, and Carol said, "Can you do me a favor?" She said, "Would you say a blessing on a pharmacy?" And that really moved me. That here's this business owner, but more than that, somebody who's got a vocation, because the work that you do is so critically important. It's not just you're not selling widgets here. You're a druggie. No, you're caring for people's health.
Exactly.
You're a healthcare
Yeah.
practitioner.
Exactly.
And so for you to stand and look in the face of, and let's face it, I'm not your conventional priest walking through the door. I wasn't in garb or robes or collars or anything. And for you to trust to ask me to say a prayer was a real honor that you would ask me to do that. So I was pleased to do that.
It's our honor. Yeah, thank you.
So just going back to your background a little bit, you were raised and educated in Egypt, and you came to Canada just 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Did you find it to be a big adjustment coming here? I mean, like, I was surprised when you told me the other day it's just been 6 years. Your language is incredible. Like, your English is really good. And it's really good. And but just in terms of the culture, the pharmacy side, like the differences or the similarities, and just in terms of the multicultural aspects of Canada, like, we were talking the other day how things are different here than they are back home, where there seems to be conflict sometimes about things that get carried away. But here in Canada, it's a different reality. So I wonder if you can share with the listeners a little bit about what it was like to adjust to this Canadian culture and what you appreciate the most about being here, I guess.
Yeah. So, like, I have to admit, it wasn't that easy for me in the beginning.
No.
So, yeah, everything was new. You have new life, new culture, new community, new weather.
Yeah.
Snow.
That's a thing. That's a thing, especially in February.
You mean it doesn't snow in Egypt?
No. There's no snow. So everything was new. And that's why I can understand sometimes why it might be a little bit challenging for the newcomers here to Canada, especially new students, new migrants, refugees, and stuff like this. They find different barriers, right?
Sure they do.
But as soon as I stayed here in Canada, I felt that I really loved it. And what is so unique and what is so beautiful about Canada is, as you mentioned, that there is multicultural, there's diversity. So it opens up your eye to see like a beautiful picture with different colors of people, and all are equal, regardless their race, color, sex, beliefs. So it's really beautiful. So I really love this country. Truly,
good,
yeah.
good.
Strikes me as you're saying that, Carol, if I can interrupt you just for a second, that what you were just saying about the barriers that people face and the adjustment, it strikes me that in your vocation here, in your work as a pharmacist, one of the things that you're going to be able to offer here at the Hyde Park Care Pharmacy is that little touch to people who are coming from a different country. Particularly, we have a lot of Arabic-speaking people coming into Canada.
Yeah.
And for them, when they arrive here in February, right?
Yeah,
and
it's a shock. It's such a big shock for them.
And they get their first cold.
Yeah,
right.
I know.
Or flu season rips by and whatever, and they're searching and they need advice or help from a healthcare practitioner. And sometimes it takes people months to find a doctor and all of that stuff. But for a lot of these people, once the word of mouth gets out there that there's this kind pharmacist, Arabic-speaking pharmacist who's new to Canada herself, who understands what those barriers are and the challenges of overcoming them, I think you're going to be able to offer a very particular and kind service to a lot of those new Canadians.
Yeah, thank you. Like, this is what we actually doing here in Hyde Park Care Pharmacy. So especially like we have a lot of newcomers, immigrants, or refugees coming here. There is a little bit language barrier, and they need to settle down. They're looking for a pharmacy. They're looking for a family doctor. We are trying to do our best to help them to settle down, and we help them with the language a little bit as far as we can. So we are
that's a great
trying
thing,
to
because
do
I imagine one of the barriers too is coming to a new country is trust, right? Who can you trust especially when there is that language barrier and you're not too sure about some of the customs and the way people do things, and so to have someone like yourself that's walked in that.
Yes.
You can offer that trust to give them that step
and
up.
just help them to adapt.
Right.
And like, this is a normal transition that they passing through.
Yeah.
Everything is new, so
I
they
just
need
think-
a bit of time. Yeah.
I agree, Rob. And just thinking of like, if you want to establish that trust, and if you come through the door and you see somebody like Carol here, and you're new to this country, and you're reminded that she did this just 6 years ago.
Yeah.
She's a business owner here with a pharmacy. That gives a lot of hope to people. Like
That's
that
true.
really gives
Yeah.
people hope.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's true.
wait a minute, she did all this, and look,
Right.
she's here,
Right.
and she's, so I think it's a beautiful thing you offer.
Yeah.
No, it is.
It's not, yeah, it's not impossible.
I know, Carol, you live out your faith within community as well. I know you're with a member at St. Paul's Coptic Church just down the road here
Yes.
in London. And I know you've expressed to Kevin the importance of your faith. And that was certainly shown when you asked him to pray and offer blessing on your new business place here. So one of the things we do on our podcast is focus on intersectionality, or how the faith that we live kind of connects or intersects with the world in which we live every day and work. So I wonder if, as a pharmacist, if you can share a little bit about how you kind of intersect that with how does your faith kind of cross over into your daily work here as a pharmacist?
Okay, it's a tough question, though.
Yeah, it is. Makes you think.
I just want to say, I just want to say for the people listening, though, it's a tough question, but it's one we gave to her in advance.
That's
Yeah,
right.
okay.
We did.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, no, truly. So, so being raised in Egypt, the Coptic Church had a major influence on me as a person. And it taught me how to have a strong faith in God. And it shaped me to be the person who I am today. So for me, it's my opinion. So faith is like you're having a goal in life. So you lose your faith, you lose your goal and the reason what you're living for, right? So we as Christians, we all were raised to provide love, help, care to the needy, and to respect and love everyone, regardless their race or their sex or colors or beliefs. So when I grew up, I found that I'm very passionate about pharmacy. People are seeking you. They are looking for some relief from their illness or pain. Sometimes they might find a part of their cure just through your smile or just your willingness to listen to them and to show them some empathy and care. And here I say, care is the core principle of our pharmacy. That's why I focused on having care and insisted on including this name in our name of the pharmacy, Hyde Park Care Pharmacy, because this is what we are aiming for, providing the care that the patient needs. So nowadays, if you take a quick look on the pharmacy field here, you'll notice that most of the pharmacies, especially the big chain pharmacies, they become more focused on business rather than on the patient itself. So gradually, it has been deviated from the original core value of being in a pharmacy. And unfortunately, most of our drugstores have been devastating with the huge clientele base they have.
Sure.
And well,
that's it, isn't it? You know, as a Christian too, what a better intersection in faith than to, you know, Jesus had something to say about healing and wholeness.
Just
and
a few things.
just a few things.
Yeah.
But you know, and he, like you say, this is about seeing the individual where they are.
Yeah.
He never said, "What's your copay?" You know, and the same thing. It's like when you're seeing someone one-on-one, you're seeing that individual and seeing their needs. And as a healer and someone that wants to bring some wholeness to someone's life, that's a great intersection of faith.
And it's very important to feel what the patients are feeling, right? It's not just you're selling medication.
Right.
It's not just that you're selling pills. It's that you're dealing with the human beings, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in terms of the pharmacy, so I was mentioning that now, unfortunately, the big pharmacies or the big chain, slowly they are losing this goal.
This contact,
this
one-on-one.
Personal contact is
yes,
important.
yes. And I'm not trying to be judgmental, but like I have been.
Why don't you leave that to me?
Practicing. I don't know.
He's got a PhD in that.
I have a PhD in judgmentality.
Okay. I'm trying my best
No, but it's a true thing because
yeah.
Kevin and I are having this conversation before we came here because I knew
Yeah.
I was coming here.
Okay.
And I'm one of the many who, for whatever reason, I go to a big box store like a Costco or a Shoppers or something like that.
Without
And I'm not,
mentioning names,
yeah,
yeah.
and I'm not. No, and it's not about.
No, it's not about
trying
trashing them. It's just
trashing
reality.
them.
Yeah.
It's in the way I was brought up. We didn't have a pharmacist in the neighborhood, right? Didn't have someone that I could have gone to, or my family, or my dad would have done that, or my
That's
mom
right.
to go. We'll go see Carol or Frank or whoever.
Yeah.
It was we're going to the mall, and while we're there, we'll get our prescription. And so that whole idea of having that one-on-one interaction around a pharmacist just didn't exist.
And see, I
Yeah.
think that's one of the challenges, and I think that's just to go to the next level here, I guess, is one of the casualties of the last sort of 40 years has been big box escalation in Western culture, especially. So we've got, as you say, whether it's the Costco's or the Galen Weston family, because now it's no longer, it's a grocery store that owns a pharmacy. It's all the newspapers are owned by, big telephone companies and all the conglomerates.
Yeah.
Like it's all big box stuff. The Walmarts moved into small communities across Canada 25, 30 years ago. I remember back in Newfoundland in Carbonear, a little community where the mall is, community of 5,000 6,000 people. The old Water Street used to have a host of little businesses. There was a small engine repair and a cobbler and a baker and all that. And after a time when Walmart came in, all that's gone, right?
Yep.
And I think we've seen that in our neighborhoods, in our urban centers as well. So these big boxes come in, they set up. And there was a day when there was the neighborhood pharmacy, and there was a day when there was the neighborhood barber and the neighborhood butcher, right? And you had the cobbler and all that. And all of that sort of went away. What I think is sort of exciting right now about the particular time we're in, and a lot of this is being driven by millennials. I don't know where you fit in that, but a lot of it is being driven by millennials. In that a lot of them now are, your craft brewing. You've got your, you got your little local bakers now, barbers. Again, one of the benefits of all the influx of people from the Middle East is there's a barber on every corner now. All my barbers I know, like the guys are all like, you couldn't find a barber in this city 20 years ago. Like there were one or two barbers, but there's a barber on every corner.
But Kevin, let me ask you, why do you need
Why
a
do
barber?
I go to the barber?
Sorry.
So the prize of the day.
Sorry.
The line of the day goes
The
to
line of
Carol.
the day
But why
says,
do you
"Wait a
need
minute."
Wait a minute, Kevin. What are you doing with a barber? Well, for the same reason I need a pharmacist, Carol.
Oh, no. You do have a lot to need a pharmacist.
Even the funeral homes, right? Like we have A. Miller George, who's one of the family-run funeral homes. Those are getting rare because of the big box sort of operations around that. I mean,
Big box.
big. Get it? See what I did there?
Yep.
So it's there's a company out of Toronto that owns thousands of funeral properties across this country. So one of the exciting things I think is that new development. So you've done this, it's a fairly significant risk. Like you've stepped out, and you've made that risk with your partners with the mics, with the two mics, Big Mike and Little Mike. But it's not without risk, because you're going up against these big things, right?
Yeah.
But you've come out here into a neighborhood to start your own independent thing. So now is the time for a shameless plug, right? So you got Rob in front of you, and that louse goes to a big box operation to get his drugs. He's not a bad guy, but that's what he does. What I was doing until very recently. So he gets his drugs there. You tell Rob why he should be coming to a neighborhood pharmacy and what you offer here, which is beneficial to him. So that by the time we leave here today, you've got another customer before we go.
I know. So, but let me ask Rob first. Why you are going to the big store or big pharmacy?
Like I said, it was default at the time, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't have a ton of medications I get, but when I had to get something, a
That's
painkiller
just because he's
when
on
I
the air.
broke my arm or
It's
something
just
like
because
that.
we're doing a recording. He really takes 40 pills a day.
That's right.
It was.
But no, it was default, and
Okay.
and I think growing up, when we needed something, that's where mom and dad would go.
Yeah.
Right.
So as I became an adult, it just clicked that that's what I would continue to do. And like I said, but Carol, there weren't these places around, right? I grew up in the city. I grew up in London and Windsor, and it was just the convenient thing to do was to go to the big box place, drop it off, do your shopping, and come back. So for no other reason than a default and it being convenient.
Yeah, for sure. So Rob and Kevin and Ian and the listener, let me give you
especially
the
the listener.
listeners.
Yeah, especially the-
Let me give you like a brief 3 reasons, or
Yeah.
let's do it 5 reasons, okay?
Five?
Yeah.
Okay,
Five
top
reasons,
five.
okay?
You want, Carol,
Yeah,
this is all about
5
you today,
reasons.
so you get as many reasons as you want.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, like we are so different about the customer service, and this is the most important thing. So we treat our customer as a member of a family. As I mentioned before, I have been practicing in big chain pharmacies, and I have been practicing in the small local retail pharmacies. So I know the difference. So I can feel the difference in the customer service. Like for the big pharmacies, I'd say, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to push toward the small pharmacies, but like, let me ask you, the last time you saw your pharmacist, did your pharmacist know you?
No.
Did your pharmacist
No, not at all.
recognize you?
Not at all.
Would you know your
Yeah.
pharmacist? Would you know your
Would you know
pharmacist's
your
name?
I
pharmacist?
couldn't
name?
tell you. You go to the
Yeah.
window when they say they want to talk to you. No, that's it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, so the care is our core value. Okay. We're trying to do our best to reinforce the bond between the patient and the pharmacist. This bond, which is it's very important because the pharmacist is playing a very important role as a bridge. He connects the patient to the healthcare providers. The pharmacists get to know you better, and you get to know your pharmacist, right? So the pharmacists know your condition. The pharmacists know your situation, even your family. Okay, and who doesn't want to be known by name? Like when you come across the door and they say, "Hey, Rob, how are you doing today? How's your blood pressure doing?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
do you
I've
have
just
a blood
spent an hour
pressure?
with Kevin, so it's
Yes,
I know.
I have an effect on people's blood pressure,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, so for the big chain, I find it's so stressful, okay? It might be due to their management there. They get their orders from the head office. We are here in the local pharmacy, so we have a little bit of flexibility, right? Yeah, so you see the same pharmacist every day.
Right.
It's not just a relief pharmacist. They're just covering couple hours or couple shifts and just signing off your prescription and dealing with you or with the customer as just a number, right? Yeah. For the independent pharmacy, it's more personal. So this is the first, and this is the most important reason. The second reason as well, why you should go to an independent pharmacy, Hyde Park Care Pharmacy. It's for Rob.
I think we're gonna
Yeah.
keep. I think you're breaking them down, Carol.
I
Keep
know.
going.
So the second reason, I'd say the accuracy and the knowledge. So one of the common mistake I have noticed that when you are going to a big stores, you just grab an over-the-counter medication and you don't even ask the pharmacist if this over-the-counter medication might interact with your current medication that you're on. And a lot of people don't know how important is that. Some of the medication, which are common medication, cough medication or cold medication, or the big box that wrote on it Tylenol, cold and sinus, stuff like that. It has like an active ingredient called a pseudoephedrine. Okay, it's a decongestant, but people just grab this box, and if you are on a blood pressure medication, if your blood pressure medication is not controlling your blood pressure, so you're gonna end up in the emergency.
Right.
You're gonna have like a very high blood pressure. For example, people on blood thinner, like warfarin, they don't know that some over-the-counter medication, which are not medication even, herbals product, like garlic, ginseng, ginkgo biloba, stuff like that. So this might cause more tendency of bleeding. So there are tons of drug interactions, and it's very important to ask your pharmacist if this medication would be suitable for me, if this medication would interact with my medication list that I'm on. If you are just going to big store pharmacy, they don't have your profile, they don't have your medication list.
Yeah, and all you're thinking of
Yeah.
is I got to get rid of this cough.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
right, so
yeah.
nobody's going to
And-
stop
and you
you.
think-
You're just grabbing the box. and
Exactly. You think that this medication is just for selling, and I just grab a box and
Right.
check it out. So yeah. So yeah, this is the second reason. You want more?
Sure.
Okay.
We can do it. We're doing the top 5.
Well, we're doing the top 5. You got to keep going.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Okay, but like before jumping into number 3, I just want you to just take a pause and recall the last time that you purchased an over-the-counter medication. Oh, you took a pause actually?
Yeah, I'm
I
thinking.
could just think about
It was
that.
probably something like that in the winter when I get
Yeah.
a sniffle or something, right?
Yeah. If you go to a local independent pharmacy like ours, so the pharmacist might be the one who check you out at the till.
Right.
So this is how close to
Right, okay.
you to the pharmacist.
Gotcha.
So,
So
he's
Rob,
with
you do
every
not need
step.
48
Yeah.
packages of Neocitrin.
You bought one, like,
No, like cheapers. Come on.
yeah, what are you doing with it?
Yeah, yeah.
You snorting this stuff, Robbie?
Oh. Okay, so reason number 3. Okay.
Third reason why Rob Henderson should move his drugs over to Hyde Park Care Pharmacy.
So one of the most significant service that we do is the fast service. So short waiting time, yet efficient. So fast service, but it's efficient. All know that the fact that the customer doesn't want to wait. They just drop off the prescription. Oh, how long this prescription will take? Okay. So it's according to the number of medication that you need to be filled. But by far, if you compare a local independent pharmacy to a big retail pharmacy, they just give you, like the big retail pharmacies now, they give you like a buzzer or give you like an hour waiting. Come back
Come
to
back
take
tonight.
your medication.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to go buy a 500-pound mum. I'll
That's
be
right.
back.
I'll go look at the
Yeah.
diapers. I'll go look at the diapers and the formula. And there's a sale on Diet Pepsi. And look,
Exactly,
cases
yeah.
of chips.
So yeah, and on the other side, some customers, they are thinking that the pharmacist, for me it's so funny, okay, because they are thinking that the pharmacist just take their prescription, enter the information into the system, just count the pills and put it in a vial, stick it, or
Yeah, and
put
then
the
you're
label,
done. Yeah,
and
you're
boom,
done.
go,
You're done.
here you go. So no, like there is a lot of stuff we are doing behind the scene, right?
Right.
So we had to check about the drug interactions. We had to check about the allergies, the dose. Is it the right dose or not? I remember one day I received a prescription from a patient. This medication was new for him. Okay,
Yeah.
the dose was right, and the medication was fine, but. He received this prescription from a walk-in clinic. So the doctor doesn't know that this medication or this patient has a problem in his kidney. So this
This is
medication...
going to have an adverse effect.
Exactly. It's not an adverse effect, but the dose need to be adjusted because not...
Wrong dose.
It's the right dose if you look to the prescription, but if someone doesn't know that this
The
patient
patient.
has a diminished kidney
Right.
function, so it will end up having a toxicity or a high dose of this medication. So we had to fax the doctor, we had to do a dose adjustment, stuff like that. So it's a lot of work behind the scene rather than just
to
filling
your point,
that.
I come from rural Newfoundland, and so the local pharmacist knows everybody. When my father was sick with cancer, he was dying with cancer. He was put on fentanyl patches,
Yeah.
and the doctor made the prescription, and he had previously been on oral morphine. Okay, when I went to our pharmacist, who we knew, and passed the prescription in, the pharmacist looked at the prescription and said, "You can't give him that dose." Like the, he said that's just
Yeah.
way too high. He's been taking morphine, yeah. So he called the doctor.
Yeah.
And again, it's because of a personal relationship, because he immediately said,
Exactly.
your dad has been taking, this oral medication. He can't switch to this. This will kill him, right? We need to. So he had to phone the doctor and get it fixed.
Yeah.
It was the local pharmacist who knew my dad that was able to make that happen.
Exactly. Like imagine if that happened, you just drop off
Drop
a
off at the-
prescription
Yeah,
to
pick up
someone
your
who
prescription.
don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah.
nice glasses.
Thank you.
Producer Ian has gone cool on us.
Man, the future's so bright. He had to
So
wear
what's
shades.
reason number 4?
Okay, reason number
four
four.
reason why
yeah.
Rob Henderson should move his drugs over to Hyde
I'm
Park
getting
Care
closer.
Pharmacy.
I'm getting closer.
All right, she's wearing you down, buddy.
Oh, okay. So reason number 4, which is why we are so unique about, is the service that we offer. So you get your free flu vaccination, okay, and without appointment needed. There's no wait time for it. You just come into the pharmacy and get your flu shot. We offer free citywide delivery for the patient who doesn't want to wait for the medication to be filled. We also offer a free blood glucose monitor, and this is for the diabetic patients, and if they need to upgrade their blood glucose monitor. And and this is all free of a charge. And they had to announce something for the listener.
Oh,
So,
something big.
because
There's a big
this
announcement
is,
coming, folks.
yeah.
Straight here. This is
Yeah.
breaking news on the Vickers Crossing.
No,
This is Les Nessman reporting.
As God is my
Oh,
witness.
goodness, I thought turkeys could fly.
Sorry, we're getting off there.
Okay, it's not related to Vickers, okay? It's not related to the pharmacy.
Is there a
either.
special for our listeners? Is that the
No, this is something special for old people covered under the Ontario
Okay.
drug benefits,
Yeah.
and they are diabetic. Using insulin,
Mm-hmm.
so now the governments are covering the blood glucose monitor that's
Okay.
using
Yes.
that uses sensor.
Oh,
The freestyle,
Libre, which I use, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So the government is now covering that.
Wow,
So,
big announcement. I didn't know that. Those are quite expensive, yeah.
Yeah, it's just 3 days ago or something
Wow,
like that.
big
yeah.
news.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doug Ford. That's not something you ever expected to hear out of my mouth.
Yeah. So we also offer a free compression stocking fitting, which is like helping with the varicose veins.
Very important to have good compression socks. I was
This is
wearing them during my
very-
55
Yeah, he had
hours.
them on
This
during
is very
55
important.
hours.
Yeah. And what people
Squeezed all the blood to my head.
Oh, that's why you're not focused. Okay. So it's really important to have the right pair of the compression stocking, because some people who has like a problem with the varicose vein, sometimes if they're not enough blood supply, so it might end up with problems. So
I think
it's very
at this point you almost have Rob, because of the talk about the varicose veins. This gets him very
Actually, it was the crack about going to the barber that got.
Yeah,
that's
that's another-
pretty much what sold me. So I'm just,
That's awesome. So yeah. And we offer a free consultation on the Ideal Protein. Ideal Protein program, it's a program for weight loss, and it's helping people with diabetes and cholesterol to achieve their goals.
Yeah.
And it's the #1 program approved, and it's helping with the weight loss, and it's under the supervision of the pharmacist. We also do the free medication therapy management. I believe you
I'm a
you
big fan.
tried
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I brought in my prescriptions. I actually brought in the pills I had already in bottles, and I
Yeah.
just passed them over to Carol. I never had to go to my big box pharmacy and tell them I was leaving. I never had to go to my doctor and say I'm a new pharmacist. I just gave Carol the stuff, and then she called the pharmacy. She moved all my medications over here. She got those daily door thingies, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
What do you call them?
like a plastic dosettes.
Yeah, dosettes. That's
Yeah.
it. And so she put all my pills in there for 4 weeks. And then when my 4 weeks was up, I never called. I didn't need to call for a refill, as you have to do at the big box stores, and get on to punching numbers about put in your any of that. I walked in the day I ran out, and on the counter, pre-packed in a bag with my name on it, ready to go, were my medications. I'm also an insulin-dependent diabetic. So out of the fridge came a 3-pack of the pens for my insulin with an ice pack, so that they were kept cool on the way home.
my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, it was brilliant. It was brilliant.
He's getting treated better than he ever has.
The only thing missing was the cold beer, but
That's it.
apart from that, it was
Oh, sorry, we don't have this one
Well, it's
here.
only $1 now. So
Yeah,
thanks,
yeah,
Doug
buck
Ford.
of beer. Thanks, Doug.
That's twice. That's twice in
Twice
one
in one
show.
show, I thank Doug Ford. Write it down, folks.
Don't take it out of context.
All right. right.
So,
So,
yeah.
are we?
So,
Sorry,
yeah.
where were we? Are we number?
Are we at
4 or
number
5?
5?
Yeah,
Okay,
just a moment. So
Just a moment. Hold on
just
here,
a
Rob.
moment.
Sorry,
Hold
you
on.
gotta make sure you're
I was just
convinced.
losing count. That's okay.
So yeah, I just want to focus on the medication therapy management and how it's very important. It's not only for like senior patients who has like a multiple medication, they forget taking their medications. Also helping with the busy person. Like if you are so busy looking around your children or doing a lot of work. So the least or the last thing that you think about is yourself, right? So it's very important to have all your medication organized.
Right.
So we offer different system to help with the organization.
Well,
of the
and again, I'll
medication,
just say
yeah.
that I've been far more regular with my medication since you put them in that stuff.
That's
Because
awesome.
I'm
This
just,
is very important.
Because it's
Yeah.
just, it makes it, dare I say the word, dummy proof. Even I can manage to get it done on time because it helps me with my, because
It's not
I guess Siri heard me say dummy.
Siri? Who invited Siri onto the podcast?
I didn't invite Siri. All right. Reason number 5 why Rob should switch.
So reason number 5, so last but not least, is the pricing. So you're gonna be surprised because like most of the big chains, they try to sell you the idea that you're getting the best deal ever if you shop there, and they put like the red sticker on sale. This is not on sale. This is just an inventory that they want to just move. And this is like, they are doing tons of money behind that, okay? So here in the pharmacy, we don't do upcharges. Like if you have a look on all of over-the-counter medication here, you can feel the price difference. We are, as I mentioned before, we are a little bit flexible. We don't get our orders from the head office, so we are a little bit more flexible. We don't have this target that we need to achieve, these sellers that we need to pay, and the inventory we need to have it. Like so
Well, there you go.
our prices are really more affordable. So
Wow.
There you go. Those
That
are
was
5
good.
good reasons, Rob.
Yeah.
Good.
Has she convinced you to
So
move
what do you
yet?
think? Ian, what do you think? Should I make the jump here?
Sounds like a good idea.
Ian says
Perfect.
yes. I trust
Yeah.
Ian completely.
So
and
this is
everything you said.
This is considered like ask Ian any questions.
That's
or
right.
what?
Just ask Ian anything right
Ask
there.
Ian anything.
Ian, should I move my
Should I
medications?
move my family and my medications
No.
to Carol's Pharmacy?
Hyde Park Care Pharmacy. Here comes Rob.
All right, we're in.
Wow,
We're
waiting
in.
for you.
We're in. No, that's great. That's great. And again,
That's
it
awesome.
comes back to what we were talking about earlier. This is about, we're talking about how faith intersects. This is about one-on-one personal connections with people, which is really about what faith is on a very deep level, is knowing each other, seeing each other,
It's community.
caring for
Exactly.
each other.
Caring for each other,
And that
yeah.
sort of
It's
thing.
community.
So
And
it
I
is.
know,
It's
like,
community
for
again, yeah.
people who could be listening to this podcast and go, well, this is a odd combination of guests. You're talking to a pharmacist about pharmacy stuff and what you do and all that on a faith in a public square. But to me, this is the real wheelhouse, because what Carol is doing here is community building.
Right.
So she's offering, because of her faith, because of living out her baptism, which would have been a very elaborate affair in the Coptic Church, I might add, because they do these things and babies are in water.
Yes.
And
No little
Yeah.
sprinkles, right?
No,
there's no little
sprinkles there.
sprinkles of water here. She would have been dipped, maybe. But because of her faith and because of the way she approaches things, it's about caring for people. She's thrown it right in the name of the business. It's not Hyde Park Pharmacy. It's Hyde Park Care Pharmacy. And what it means is she's being attentive to building a community so that she can call people by name. People can feel that they have someone to talk to. You said something earlier about providing care. It's not just about the medication. I can tell you, I never come in here without feeling better when I leave.
Well,
And I'm
thank
not
you.
always coming in here to
Thank
get
you.
drugs, as you know. And because we've built a bit of a relationship, if I'm here in the plaza to run into the Tim Hortons,
Sure.
I can't leave without stopping in to say hello to Carol.
Exactly.
And that's the sort of
Yeah,
environment I
that's-
think
yeah.
that you're going to get here.
That's
Yeah.
community.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. That's great. That's great. Well, thanks, Carol, for being here and doing this and
Well, thank you
putting
so
up with our
much.
shenanigans too. It's always fun.
And
to,
thanks for cluing in on how you can make a dig at me and my barbering. And
Oh, like I said, that's sold
you
me,
fit right
Carol.
in with the rest of us, Carol.
No,
That's-
Carol, I was in when you said that. There was
That's
no
the
need for the top 5, actually, but I'm glad you did it
She
anyway.
fits, I think she fits right in. She could co-host this, no problem.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
That's great. And what about you, Ian? Are you going to be, when you get a sniffle, where are you going?
Oh.
Here,
Come on,
probably.
buddy.
Yeah.
Come here. You need to, when you get home, you need to be talking to the parentals there, Rob and Donna Stevenson. I'm talking to you. If you're not, you
Get
listen
called
up.
out.
You hear your boy is here. You know you got to get that family over here. And by the way, I'll be talking to you about where you're going to be going for a dentist too someday soon.
Okay, we'll take care of that too. Great. And remember, Ian, you may not have any medications now at your age, but you're spending a lot of time with Kevin. And like I said, the high
Right.
blood pressure stuff is going to finally catch
And
up.
it could make you sick.
that's
And you know, you do buy other things at the pharmacy besides medications. I'm just saying.
That's true too. We want everybody to be safe. That's right.
Not sorry.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on the Vickers Crossing podcast, brought to you by our good friends at Aleppo Restaurant, and of course our friends at A. Miller George Funeral Home, where every life is celebrated, and their sister company, Cremation London and Middlesex, both family owned and operated. So where can they find us, Kevin?
You can find us on Spotify, on iTunes. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us anywhere where your favorite podcast is broadcast.
Or
Podcast is broadcast. And wherever you like to listen to podcasts, you're going to find us. And we'd love for you to email us. Certainly your questions for Ian, but any other comments you have. If you have questions for Carol and you don't know how to reach her, you can reach out to us at vickerscrossing@gmail.com, and we'll make sure your message gets there. But be in touch with us at any way possible. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter, and give us your views. We'd love to hear from you.
All right.
So,
great.
Kevin, do you want me to put in a clip of Wayfaring Stranger
Please put a clip of Wayfaring
Yes.
Stranger at the end.
right here?
Right here.
I am a poor wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world alone, and there's no sickness, toil or danger, and that bright light to which I go. I'm going there to see my mother. I'm going there, no more to roam. And I'm only going over Jordan. And I'm only going over home now.
There it goes. Perfect.
Brilliant.
Perfect. All right, wrapping up from Hyde Park Care Pharmacy with Carol and Kevin and Ian. I'm Rob Henderson. And remember, Kevin, to always look both ways.
Before you cross the street, Wayfaring Stranger.
Thank you for listening. Our hosts are Kevin George and Rob Henderson. Our producer and composer is myself, Ian, with original artwork done by Catherine Olenek. If you have any questions or want to know where to find us, tweet us at Vickers Crossing or find us on Facebook at The Vickers Crossing. If you have any other questions about anything heard on this podcast, leave us a comment or look into the description to find out more. Thanks!